Hi, I'm Danny and these are my Diecast Disasters. In this video I'm going to be restoring a little Corgi Junior's Batmobile. So I believe Corgi produced these first in about 1970 and then a later version around the late 70s, and I'm pretty sure this one is from that later time period. The earlier version I think is harder to find and worth a bit more money. So it's a bit odd looking, but I'd say it's based off of the Batmobile from the 1960s TV show. Let's just take a closer look at it off the turntable. I've definitely seen them in worse condition. The paint's pretty worn on this one. Tyres are pretty worn there, but the plastic interior's in pretty good condition, and also the windscreen's unbroken. So I think it's a really good candidate for a restoration. Even those plastic suspension tabs on the bottom are in great condition. They're usually broken or totally worn out. So I'll start out taking it apart. There's these two main rivets here to drill out. And then I can pry the base off, being careful not to break it. I'm not going to drill out those two sunken rivets there, they should just pop out. Perfect. Now with that removed, I can take apart the rest of the car. There he is, the Batman. Right, so with that all taken apart, I can strip the paint off the casting there with some poly stripper. Here it is with the paint removed. Now I'll give it a tidy up with the wire brush on my rotary tool, get rid of the oxidation and a few scraps of paint that are still on there. And here's our Batmobile body, looking a bit cleaner and shinier and ready for a coat of black paint. There we go, a nice black bat paint job. I'm not going to drill and tap the rivets on this little Corgi as there's just not much material there. I took some measurements and I've printed myself some replacement bat stickers here, decals in this case, and I'll just apply one of those to the Batmobile. And I finish this with a couple of coats of nice gloss clear. So now I can move on to the plastic parts. They're all looking a little bit grubby, so the first thing I'll have to do is give them a wash in some soapy water. I'll just pop these wheels and axles out from the chassis. Now off for a wash. And here they are, looking a whole lot cleaner. I don't think I'm going to have to do anything to that base there, or the Batman, as they pretty much look mint as after a good clean. But I am going to give the interior and the windscreens a little bit of a zhuzh up. The windscreen's a little bit scuffed here and there on the raised parts, but I don't want to sand it or risk damaging it, so I just give it a little bit of a polish. And the interior was pretty good, except for a couple of little scraggly bits of plastic hanging off it, so I just trimmed them with my craft knife. And then they both got a dip in self-shining floor polish. And finally, to deal with these scruffy old wheels. It is a restoration, so I want the same wheels back on it. I did look through my piles of spare wheels, and I did have an extra set the same style as this, but they were in an even worse condition. So I'll be refurbishing these ones. Here I've started by giving them a coat of satin black paint. I'll just tidy up the axles because they got a bit of paint on them. So that'll help to tidy up a bit of the scuffing. And then I'll repaint the rims in chrome. And there we go, I think they're looking a little bit better. Here are all the parts of our little Corgi Batmobile, refurbished, repainted and ready to go back together. To reassemble the car, I'll just start by putting the wheels back into the chassis. And I'm going to put the interior parts back into the body. There goes the Batman. And then the base pretty much just clips back on, particularly as I didn't drill out those smaller rivets. And then I'll just put a drop of black Starbond super glue onto each of the larger drilled out rivets. So there's our little Corgi Junior's Batmobile restored and put back together. But just before we look at the finished car, we'll take a look back and be reminded of what we started with. Our scruffy, play-worn little Batmobile. Missing a lot of its black bat paint there. Bat wheels are pretty worn out. Well, the bat windscreen and bat interior are still pretty good. Let's get it tidied up and ready to go out fighting crime again. And here it is, our finished, restored Corgi Junior's Batmobile. Nice new black paint job. Those scruffy old wheels have been tidied up. The windscreen and interior have been refurbished. And the Batman's been given a wash. I think it's looking a lot more tidier and closer to what it would have looked like when it came out of the box. You can let me know what you think in the comments down below. You used to have one of these as a toy. I'm sure there was no shortage of them, so I bet plenty of people did have them as a toy. I see quite a few on the second-hand market, although a lot of them are in pretty rough shape. Often the windscreens are broken. Before I go, I'll say a big thanks to everyone for the great comments and likes on my videos. Special thanks to my awesome Patreon supporters. They help to support the channel through Patreon. If you'd like to help out as well, you can check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description down below, as well as a link where you can get 10% off of Starbond Superglue. As always, thanks heaps for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe and click the bell so you get notifications and updates. Give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.